Are you ever going to reduce the international shipping price to Australia? I'd love to support you guys more than I do, but the shipping is so expensive on top of conversion, it gets almost impossible. So I used to hear about this a lot more before we offered FedEx. So with US Postal Service, we offer USPS and FedEx. And there's different, grades of shipping with those two carriers. It used to be only USPS, and the shipping used to be a lot more affordable for international. Of course, being the world that it is today, everything is going up in price for all the time, always, right? So I have definitely seen a huge trend in increase in international shipping prices, especially on lower price things. That's part of the reason that our ink drop program died, is because our shipping cost, even domestically, more than doubled on our smaller packages for like ink drop, and it just killed all our margin on ink drop. So it became an unprofitable program. And if we raised it up, it would be uneconomical. So that was a ramification that happened that affected a lot of people internationally, for sure, especially on lower weight packages. I'm talking like under a pound, even under 2 pounds. The incremental cost of those lower weight packages has more than doubled in the last couple of years. I mean, we underwent a huge price increase a couple of years ago, where it was like in 1 month, the prices doubled for international packages, like under half a pound or under a pound, and it was significant. That's just a move that the post office kind of had to make, I guess, or chose to make. For higher weight packages, it hasn't been affected quite as much. It's definitely still had an increase in recent years, but it's really been on those lower weight packages. So I end up hearing a lot of feedback like yours, where I want to order more or more often or whatever, but it's so expensive I can't do it. Now, to complicate it even more, not talking specifically about Australia, it's definitely every country has their own thresholds for customs fees and exchange rates and all this kind of stuff. Every country has it. They're always different, and they have different thresholds that may or may not be published. So it's really impossible for us to say with any great degree of predictability what customs fees are going to be to any one country, let alone all of them. So that gets pretty frustrating. I fully understand that. And every country is different. For example, Brazil, their customs fees are about 100% of whatever it is that you bought. Like, they just don't want people importing stuff. So it takes, I'm not joking, I've had packages take 5 months to get delivered to Brazil. 5 months to get delivered. And we did all the information, we did everything right. It just got held up that long. I've had other things. Other countries will flag any type of ink that's done there. They flag it and say that it has to be tested and all this kind of stuff, and it takes months and holds it up like crazy. It's just, that doesn't happen a lot. Mexico, I know, is not great when it comes to ink. Brazil, their customs fees are very expensive. Chile also. Argentina, I know, are some of the higher ones. A lot of countries in South America, which is, we don't do a lot of business at all in South America because their customs and import fees are so high, it completely makes it uneconomical. That's a lot of why in those countries you don't see a lot of brands available down there either, because they have the customs import fees, not just at the individual level where you're purchasing, but it's at the country, importing and exporting regulations and stuff. Like, they can't set up retailerships in those countries because the fees are so high. I hear about, countries, I know Australia, a lot of the products that we offer here are either not as available in Australia, or the prices are a lot higher because of import customs facts and stuff like that. So it gets pretty tough. So, the reason the shipping cost is higher is because those are real costs, and shipping is not a profit center for us. It's something that we have to manage as best we can, because the prices are always shifting, and it does vary a lot based on the weight. So I can say, if you are looking to place orders internationally to Australia or anywhere really from the US, us specifically, if you place larger, less frequent orders, it's going to help out your shipping costs drastically. Now, the thing about the whole customs fees, and where I was going on that tangent, is sometimes you can hit thresholds of price points where they'll zap you with customs fees at a certain level. So it's kind of like a catch-22 a little bit. Like, if you place smaller orders to try to avoid the customs fees, you're going to pay more in shipping from us. Whereas if you order from us higher dollar amounts, your shipping cost is going to be lower, but your country's going to zap you on customs fees. So it's almost like you can't win. And it's like, you know, that's really frustrating. I totally understand that. But ultimately, it boils down to the economic strategy of the various countries which you're transacting. You know, your country and the import fees, our country and shipping costs, and how much, you know, it's like why do you see so much cheap stuff coming out of China? It's because the Chinese government subsidizes a lot of that because they want to do a lot of export, you know, whereas in the US, they don't want to do as much, so they don't subsidize a lot of that, you know? So if they wanted to have a lot of international trade exporting out of the US, the government would have heavy subsidies for shipping costs so that it costs almost nothing to ship out of there, and they would make it super easy, and then everybody across the world would buy our stuff. But that's not necessarily the case. So, you know, and depending on a zillion different factors of things that I'm super getting outside of my area of expertise and even broaching the subject, there's a lot of factors that go into it, and the costs that we have are as low as we've been able to find to get them and still maintain a healthy, profitable company. So that's really kind of where we're at. So the fact that we have different shipping options with USPS and now FedEx, that's the best that we've been able to find. So placing larger, less frequent orders, and then I find that the best option is to go with FedEx internationally. Now, it's going to vary depending on your country, and we have different rates that you can calculate based on your situation. But for the speed of the shipping, for the tracking, and for what you're getting for that shipping, and sometimes just the overall cost is actually cheaper with FedEx. So I find internationally FedEx to be a better option, at least from what we've been able to muster up. So that's where I'll kind of leave off with that. But really good question. I get asked that a lot.